Hello, welcome back to Addicted to Recovery, the podcast bringing you the truth about addiction. My name's Christopher White. I'm joined, as ever, by my dear friend, co-host, and fellow recovering addict, Max Thomas. How are you, brother?
Chrissy White, yeah, I'm good, mate. You?
Good, mate. Who we got in the studio today?
You've got the wonderful Taner Hassan. How we doing, mate?
How we doing, brother?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. A bit terrified, a little bit.
I don't believe it for a second.
Taner didn't realise how big me and Chris were, basically.
Yeah,
No, it was late night podcast, 9 o'clock. I can already have the chap next to me.
In an empty building.
In an empty building with no one around.
Walking around the car park.
Yeah, walking around the car park.
Just a cleaner and a couple of units. Yeah.
What's going on? Yeah.
Brilliant.
You know.
No, look, good to finally meet you.
And you.
I heard a lot about you from Mr. Elski.
From El, yeah.
Yeah, and great to finally meet you, mate.
You too, mate. You too.
To the name.
So yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a hell of a week. So I wasn't sure if I'd bring the level. So I had to drive down with some drum and bass pumping out just to get it on.
Yeah, saw it on the Instagram story, mate. He was having it.
I just started the journey. Yeah.
It just goes to show when we get clean, we can still party, right?
Oh, mate, that was one thing that music was never going to go.
Yeah.
Because I used to hear people get triggered by music.
Yeah.
And I think I conditioned myself from early on to say I'm not having that, because music came before drugs. I always loved music. And so I probably didn't watch Human Traffic again for a long, long, long time.
No.
Just fear of euphoric recall.
Yeah, trigger warning.
You know. But I've seen it again, and I'm just like, that movie, man, this classic.
Yeah.
What we done tonight? Because that was a...
So, yeah, just got back from doing an NA share
Chrissy
in
was
Southend.
the main share. Yeah, it was lovely.
I've done the share. It was nice. I always like coming back to Southend. I mentioned it in my share. It's like my spiritual home. I got clean here. I got clean at the Lighthouse. And then I went into housing, like the dry house in Southend. And, it's just sort of like my spiritual journey began here. So I like coming back. I like seeing some old faces and sharing in NA, doing a bit of service, you know what I mean? But I loved it. I spoke about what I said before. So now we do this podcast, there's a bit of expectations when I share. Because they're like, oh, this guy's got a podcast.
Well, you think there is?
I think there's expectation. You know that stuff that we put on ourselves that's not actually happening? I do a bit of that. So I open my share up with, you know what, I'm a little bit nervous. I feel like I'm putting a bit of expectation on myself.
Yeah.
Got it out of the way. And I thought it went well.
No, it's great, mate.
15 minutes I was still using. I was like, fuck, better get to the solution.
You went, I'm not even clean yet. He'd be banging on for about 17 minutes.
Sorry about that. I'm not even clean yet. But it was good. Good bit of service. Thanks for coming down, Max, and supporting, mate. But yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah.
So look, let's get over to you, mate.
Well, first of all, I really relate to what you just said then about Southend. I got clean in Southend.
Yeah.
Did all my recovery in Southend for a while, and then I left about 5-6 years ago. I think it's about 6 years ago, and then I moved out of Southend. But all of my recovery was in Southend, and I really struggled leaving and moving to a new area.
Was you using in Southend?
Yeah, all my using was in Southend.
There you go. See, look, for me, it was a big... I moved to Southend. I didn't know anyone who used. I didn't know where to pick up. So it was like a little safe haven, even though it was going on all around me, because I know Southend's like... All seaside towns are like havens for drugs and addicts.
Yeah, what do you say about Southend, mate?
I love Southend.
Right.
But what I'm saying is...
That's not what I was getting. Were you getting
No,
that? I didn't get that.
What I'm saying is, where I was out of the area and I didn't know anyone, I found it easy to recover. What I'm saying, well done to you for getting clean in the town where you used. Because I had to sort of separate
I shared
myself.
tonight at the meeting. I drive past the flat tonight, which I used to use massively in. And, lost summers in that place. Like when I was younger, no wife and kids at this point, but I just used to do, and I shared back to Chris tonight, I'll be using during the day beautiful, the hot summers we used to get, not like this shit at the moment, but
whack.
and I used to look forward to the sun going down because I thought it was more acceptable to continue to use when it was dark.
Absolutely right,
Just
yeah.
that deluded thinking, do you know what I mean? But I've been using for 2-3 days already. And I was just waiting, like counting down the hours. People used to be, why are you looking out the window? I was waiting for the sun to go down. It was like 4 o'clock.
The alley cat can begin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
You know.
that existence, man.
Vampire mode.
Out with the creatures and claw hands, that's what I used to call them.
I felt more
Creatures, 'cause
comfortable.
that's what I was, a creature and claw hands.
An absolute creature.
Yeah.
How clean are you, Taner?
I will be, on the 1st of October, I'll be 18 years clean,
Oh, fantastic.
Wowzers.
day at a time.
Well done, mate.
You know, not planning on having a day off anytime soon.
No, it's fantastic, though, isn't it?
Well, it's weird. It is weird. I mean, you had Steve.
Yeah.
Steve was at my first meeting.
Yeah.
Was he really?
Yeah, listen, let me tell you about Southend NA meetings back then. There was one a week in Southend.
What day?
Monday.
Okay.
At the Taylor Centre, which is now a car park.
Right.
It's right opposite the Queensway GP surgery.
Okay.
So that's just a car park now. But he was the telecentre, so it was. I think people could get a script from there. It had the family planning there, it had a GP surgery. It was huge. And so I used to go there every Monday, and I was happy with that one because there was no cross on the wall, so I didn't feel like I was going to burn. And there was no, and the chairs were really comfortable.
Yeah.
That's important for me.
They were blessed. They were just.
The really chair I was sharing in tonight was like a throne, mate. I loved it.
You know, but you know, that was just an excuse to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to belong there. I didn't want to do it really. But
how old were you then?
24 when I came in.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, coming young.
24, yeah.
I was going to say, you don't look old enough to be 18 years clear.
Right. You're back in the good books now. That's all right. It's because I had used for a long time.
There you go, mate.
But, you know, and it's this beautiful cypriot skin, obviously, that's what it is. And cocoa butter and oil. You know, but no, Monday, that's it, Monday. Then you had to go Honeypot Lane on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Then you had
My
to go,
first ever meeting.
Right, Honeypot Lane. And then you had Grays on a Friday. There was no Saturday morning at that time. And then you go to a bit of a posh meeting at the Priory on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Or you could go on a Thursday night to the Candlelit in Chelmsford.
Yeah. That's still
Lane.
there.
That's still there. Shared there the other week.
Yeah, still there. But what I liked about the Priory one is that everybody who was in treatment used to come to that meeting, and you're coming into that rehab in that meeting.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was just heaving. It was just so many people.
Wow.
Is this Chelmsford?
Yeah, in Chelmsford, and I loved it. I mean, I was a bit of a lunatic. Steve will tell you. Only Steve, Maggie, Marcus, they remember me at my first meeting, but you know, Nick came a bit later on. So, and a guy called Big Nick, God bless his soul, he used to just help me out a lot and give me lifts, and I'd be that what about questions all the time to him. He'd go, "You want to lift home?" I go, yeah, and you could probably see he's thinking, "Fuck." He said yes, but he was doing his service. You know, he was helping, and he was a really lovely man, and he brought me to my first meeting, and yeah, I mean, I absolutely hated it, fucking hated it.
Yeah.
Everybody that was in there was old. I remember saying it. I said, "You're all a bunch of fucking old arseholes," like, you know. And Maggie went, "I'm an addict. I'm also an old arsehole. Keep coming back." I came in at 24. I was like, "Shit." It's proper
she came in at 24.
Yeah. So she proper schooled me. I was just like, "Wow, okay, this is interesting." So yeah, that was, and I didn't want to go, but you know, I ended up going there. That was
we don't, do we?
Definitely didn't want to go there, and I looked around the room. I was judging everyone.
Yep.
Did all the story. I was like, yep, and I just felt like I didn't really belong. And then I remember going to the Grays meeting on Friday, and Michael used to take that meeting.
Yep.
And I mean, everyone has their names, their code names now, right? So you've got like Jack the Hat and you know, Big Hands Bill and all this kind of weird shit. And he was called Black Mike, right? That was kind of, you know, it was,
Mikey.
Yeah, Michael John.
He's coming on soon. I literally just messaged him before you come.
Brilliant.
Legend. He was pivotal in my early recovery.
He's one of my best mates.
Yeah, he's good stuff.
When you see him, ask him how Thailand was when we went to Thailand.
Okay.
You know, we had coffee one day, missed our trip, and got right in the middle of it and arguing.
Yeah.
And he's a big geezer.
Yeah, he's a big bloke.
And he said to me, he went, You don't fucking back down, do you? I went, no. He went, "You're a cheeky fucker." And we just laughed for hours. And he is instrumental for me getting married to the wife I'm married to today, which I'll get onto a bit later on.
Wicked.
And that's all because of him, really. And but I saw him taking the Friday meeting, and I loved how he took that Friday meeting. He would get out-of-towners, local people. If it was your birthday, he would rotate it male, female.
Yep.
He'd really think about
Really important.
the message and who's coming to, you know, so everyone from Southern came to that meeting on Friday. It was brilliant. And then he gave up his commitment, and then it could come to an end, and they changed the venue and fucked the meeting because it was in a church. They were limited. They put the rent up and they couldn't afford it, and went to this church. It was a massive big glass. So at night time, you could just see everyone in there. It was so echoey. So everyone got paranoid and thought, "No, I'm not going there." And it was far from a station and whatnot. But so those were the stomping grounds. But now, when you look at the meetings now, you've got a meeting every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
When I go up to areas, sometimes I think the most GSRs I've seen is nearly 20 in Essex.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
So I was chair at area once.
Yeah.
There was not 20 GSRs
No.
ever.
No.
Just for anyone listening, GSR is one person from each meeting represents that meeting at an area level. So it's like, we haven't got into that stuff for the listeners. It's basically like, it's like a committee that looks after the meetings. It's like, I want to say the next level up, but they don't say that, do they?
No.
The next level down is what they try and say. So basically it's like area, region, the world.
I see it as when the fog clears, you see a little bit more of you out the vision, the periphery. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So you go, oh, it's not just this. There's more to it than just coming to a meeting. Who actually sets up the chairs? Who actually takes the meeting? Who actually puts the cards out? Who actually does the tea? Who actually has a conscience about, do we have enough money to buy this milk? Yeah. You know, that kind of stuff. And I mean, I didn't get it early days. I used to sit in the conscience and they'd be arguing about or discussing healthily about cups and kettle, and I was like, fucking, I'll just give you a score and go and get a kettle. And they're like,
that's not how it works. That's exactly what I used to think. Well,
what do you
just
mean?
put a fiver in now. And you're like, no, not really, mate.
Yeah, what do you mean?
But Taner, we talk about it all the time, subconsciously teaching you at the same time.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And,
these lessons that we get.
100% going to meetings has 100% helped me become the man I am today. Without a doubt. Everything I have
doubt in my mind
has a stamp of recovery on it. And so you said to me before we started that, sorry, could I just be a diva for a moment? Could you just retrieve my bottle of water, please?
Yeah, cool.
Thank you. What kind of pod is this? There's no glasses, there's no drink in here. It's like, fucking hell.
You were late.
Oh, right.
I've moved him around a few times.
Touche is a touche. Add some quality H2O. Thank you, sir. So, you know, the service was really, really important, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And the conscience and learning to grow up and be patient and sit on your hands and all this kind of stuff. And so for me, that was a real education. And I thought it was just about not using, or you learn to use properly, and then realizing it. We're going to teach you how to live. And not only are we going to teach you how to live, we're going to show you how to become a better person, become that productive member of society. Which I never
better
thought
person than you could ever thought you could be on your own.
Ever.
I was saying about it tonight, about it's not just that I'm grateful that I'm clean now. I'm grateful that all that stuff happened. Then I was given this set of tools, and I can now be the person I am today. Without all that fuckery, I can't have this. You know, this, like, I really truly feel like we're blessed. Like, we're the lucky ones. And try and tell me when I'm that guy that you was talking about in your first meetings, and you focusing on all the differences and not the similarities, and like, oh, I ain't going there, there's a cross on the wall. That's me. Now, a few years in, and I'm still a baby, like, in the grand scheme of things. I'm so blessed that all that had to happen. I wish I caused a bit less harm, but I feel like it was necessary to kick me up the arse and put me into the situation I'm in now, because I am blessed, truly blessed. Do you agree with that?
That you're blessed? I have no fucking idea, sir.
Do you agree that we're better people now than we could ever have been on our own?
Oh, without doubt. Look, I always had a conscience.
Yeah.
I can't say that I never had one. I always had one. But, you know, I'm a bit of a fantasist, so I always think about movies to express how I feel. And then, do you ever remember a movie called Scent of a Woman with Al Pacino? You need to be watching some movies, so we'll write that down at the Q&A at the end.
I'll have a look at that one, definitely. I like a classic.
But he does this monologue, and he talks about, you know, this guy who's on trial pretty much. They're going to expel him, you know, at this sort of middle-class school or whatever it is, this prep school. And he's basically defending him, saying that his soul's intact, it's non-negotiable. And he says, you know, I chose the wrong road because it was easy. You know, the right way was too damn hard. That's what he goes. And he says, when he said that and that whole monologue, I was just like, mate, it's exactly how I felt. I always look for the easy route. And I did have a conscience, but then obviously that gets quieter when the overriding obsessive thought to change the way that you feel kicks in, right? So coming to NA helped, I wouldn't say make it louder, but it made the demons quieter so that I could listen to the light, see the goodness that was there, and then harness that and focus on that more, and then deal with those demons.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more to all that.
Does that make sense?
That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah, that's how I feel, because I'm still me.
My addict when I was using was really noisy. That conscience was still there, but very quiet. You know,
Yeah, we talk about good dog, bad dog.
Coming into recovery, because I've fed the good dog, you know what I mean, the addict is still there. Exactly how the conscience is quiet. The addict is still there, but it's quiet today.
Yeah.
Some days it's noisier than others. But if I stay in the middle of the boat, I know that my recovery and my spirit is really loud on most days, which is great. But it's still there, so I just need to keep feeding that good dog with stuff we do on a daily basis.
I used to say half your brain. Well, someone told me, I didn't come up with this. Someone told me this. It was about 40 years. He was in Newcastle, and he was like, got clean, sitting in a metal cell. None of these meetings, like all this shit that you got. And he was the only guy that used to have his own chair. He'd earned his right. He was in the Navy and that. And I said to him, like, "We got any advice?" And he was like, "Half your brain manufactures bullshit, and the other half buys it." And I was like, "I fucking love that." I was just like, "Right." And I thought that's really true. You don't need to go meet him. Fuck them. Yeah, fuck them. Good idea. Always doing the deal.
Yeah.
Just 5 more minutes in bed. Yeah, 5 more minutes.
Another episode of that TV program.
All of that. And in the end, the boundaries. There's no boundaries. That didn't even exist in my repertoire. Boundaries.
No.
Haven't you had enough? Or, reflection. Why don't you reflect? And I learned a lot of this stuff from going to meetings, from learning to listen.
Yeah.
Really learning to actually listen.
Yeah, I had to learn how to listen.
But nowadays I listen to my gut rather than my head. That's the big change I've had. I used to just, those gut feelings, this isn't right what I'm doing, I need to go home, for example. The head would just override it. No, fuck that, we're having fun, aren't we? She'll be all right, all that sort of stuff. Today, the head's still noisy, but the gut normally wins the argument for me at the moment, which is, I know I'm going down the right road.
How long have you been clean?
5 years.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So you just got your marbles.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
I've heard that. I ain't getting my marbles for another 18 months.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, the chat, I relate to that. I mean, everyone's different. You can't ever say, this is how it's going to be at this stage. Everybody is an individual still. We're not clones, we're individuals.
Yeah.
And I fought this stuff a lot. And you said there's a lot of newcomers, so some of this stuff might not make sense. So, if this doesn't make sense, listen to another podcast.
Yeah.
Another episode of this podcast.
But my recovery, Taner, has definitely gone in phases. Like, even entering my 5th year, I'm just, I've gone again. It's
Another level.
It's a lovely thing to be part of. It just gives me hope for what does it look like at 18 years claim, for example. We might say it's fucking terrible, but I hope you don't. But
it's fucking terrible, mate.
No, but it's, I suppose learning along the way is just, you're just peeling that onion away, I suppose. Every single year and every single meeting I go to, I'm learning more and more and more. But I've got to stay in the middle of the boat, open-minded. I've got to keep sharing honestly, keep being willing to help others. And it's because if I don't stop doing those things very quickly, I'll just return to the old Max, which is, he wasn't a nice person fundamentally. That addict gets noisy. And we don't want that.
I always say, it's not that we're bad people, we're unwell people. We're unwell at that time. Sick, absolutely. And I wasn't a bad person. I used to think I was a bad person.
Yeah.
The choices I made.
That's what I shared in my very first meeting. I said, I know I'm not a bad person. And I was like breaking down. And the guy leant over and he was like, you're not a bad person. You're a sick person. And once I got that in my head, I was like, okay, maybe. You know what I mean? A little seed was planted. But look, I'll cut you off there.
No, you're right. I mean, I wasn't a shit. I did shitty things, but I wasn't a shit, And so I was just kind of really bouncing off what you were saying and just thinking about I'm just reflecting really on how NA has changed my life, and it really has, and it's been. I'd say it's been difficult, and then it's been really easy, and then really feely, really in the fields, as
that's in one day.
In the fields, really I'm feel, and
And feel?
I'm really feel.
I'm very feel.
I'm very feel. You've got a bit of a hidden vibe, actually. Isn't it?
Comedy podcast, mate, you know what I mean? I do a bit.
And the Viking stuff.
That's it,
That's it.
Can we wind the tape back a little bit? They talk not loads about your childhood. How did we get to that first meeting, if that's okay?
My grandmother raised me. But no, I'm not joking. See, I want to play. It's banter. See, this is the thing that recovery has given me, right? So my sentence is banter and bollocks.
Yeah.
That's my phrase. And I'd like to do a podcast one day. I'm going to call it Banter and Bollocks, but
That's a good name.
yeah, I've always liked it because that's what it's like.
Yeah.
You know, that's who I am.
Yeah.
I do silly characters. I just go into whatever. It's just the ADHD in me. It's just my personality. It's not the ADHD. It's my personality. It's just who I am. I've got the energy back.
Yeah.
I lost all that.
Yeah.
I lost all that. I had all that before I used. I was a performer. I was, if you couldn't tell. And I was always on stage and performing, and everyone was like, get into comedy, get into this or get into that. And drugs just took all that away. And so when I finally came into recovery, sort of learning more about myself and becoming, feeling self-acceptance, because the self-improvement means fuck all if you ain't got self-acceptance. It transcends it every time. Got to be in self-acceptance. That took a long time. And then I could really be my authentic self again. And some. And I found new things about me that I liked and that I could do and I could be. So that's just what I'm about. So I don't take myself seriously. I take what I do seriously, and I take this illness seriously. But I don't take myself seriously. And that's one thing anyone who's listening can get from that who's new.
Yeah, it's key.
Is get your fucking humour back, man. If you've never had one, you'll find one. Because when you've been in the shit, really down in the dark, in the depths of it, which most of us have, that have come into those doors, the only way is up. So for me, 99% of the time, I'm a happy person. And that isn't any bullshit. I'm 100%. I'm true when I say that. 99% of the time, I'm really happy. The other 1% is copping the resentment. They're where I should be, or fucking it's not working the way I want it to be, or fucking hell, when's it going to get better? And when's the weather going to? Or, the other stuff.
Just moaning.
The stuff. So, I'm still me. I can still be a miserable shit, or that kind of stuff. But anyway, you were saying it's your podcast. Please ask the questions. I will.
That's fine. Childhood.
You want to go into the deep of the deep?
Yeah, just sort of like you're saying, you got to your first meeting and all that. How did you get there?
Okay. Childhood was dysfunctional. It was loving, but dysfunctional. It's a difficult one to talk about on a podcast.
Yeah, it's fine, mate.
And I'll tell you why. Because I think it isn't fair to talk about whatever I say will involve other people. And while they're on this earth, it's just something I've always said I wouldn't do.
No, that's fine.
In a meeting all day long.
How are you at school? Because at school, the common theme you hear in recovery is that, or in the rooms, that I used to chameleon myself, jump from one group to another. That was my story anyway. Did you feel similar to that?
Totally. When I got older. When I was younger, I was top dog at junior school, and it was a crease. Bill and Ted was out, and I was always imitating them, and everyone was like, "Yeah, excellent!" Everyone just loved it. Just an absolute twat, right? And it was just fine. And just had all this energy, but I was susceptible to be manipulated. One of the kids who I thought was really cool got me to write loads of the headmistress is a fat fucker and all that, and I'm writing it all out and all this kind of stuff, and then he'd go and grass me up. And I just remember, proper. And I just remember him, my mum and my dad being chucked to the book. Look at what your son has done. Just chucked to the book. So I grew up in a lot of shame. I was always in it, like, oh, fucking hell, or losing my glasses. And I had glasses since I was 8, and, I was just...
And was that people-pleasing? Because I used to do loads of that just to try and feel that acceptance at school. I went to school, I didn't know many people at school, and so I was immediately in that, he's got to like me, she's got to like me, and I was just straight away, I wasn't my genuine self from an early age.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was that later on. All that kicked in for me later on. When I was younger, I grew up in a full sense of security because actually I was quite popular at junior school. And I was definitely, anything I wanted to do, I was doing piano, I was learning, I was singing, I was dancing, I was doing whatever I wanted to do. And I had good mates. I was kind of top dog really, like at junior school.
It's a big jump.
And then when you go to senior school, you're like, okay, you're actually at the bottom of the gene pool here.
That's what I felt.
I was the shortest kid. I was the only brown kid in my class. I was 4'9". Not that matters, but they made that matter. So that made me feel like, well, what's wrong with me? It was always pointing out that I looked different. I mean, big glasses are back in fashion, right? I used to have big glasses like these, but they were thinner frames. But big and curtains and 4'9", and I wasn't a sporty person. I didn't really like running or any kind of stuff, and they were all into that, and I just wasn't popular.
No.
And I was out. Kids can be cruel, right? So I was out for ridicule, really.
Yeah.
And
Kids can be very cruel.
they can be cruel, but I've always had a good heart, and I don't care what colour you are, what religion you are, if you've got a disability, or I don't care about that, you know. And I remember at 12 then, that was like my best mate, Peter, and he was disabled in his hands and his legs, and you know, he needed help to cut his food and stuff at times, but he used to get frustrated with that, and he'd pack a hell of a punch, like, you know. I guess we were like the odd ones in the class, and I hated it. It was private school as well. My mum and dad sent me to private school. They wanted to give me what they didn't have. My dad came from a poor village in Cyprus, in North Cyprus, and my mum was Irish, English-Irish, one of 7 kids, and they were always poor. So, and they become very successful in their lives. You know, my mum and dad, they ran a Wimpy, and my dad had Wimpy's like 40 years, Southend and Rayleigh and Pitsea and Shoebury and all around there, and we used to live in one flat in Westcliff in Hamlet Court Road in the above the Wimpy. We all shared one room.
Free benders.
Free benders, mate. Free benders. Wondering when that was coming. It's coming.
I used to like the brown derby. Was it brown derby? It was like a donut with ice cream.
That's
on
right,
top.
mate. The brown derby.
They went off.
That's powerful. You know that, didn't you?
Extra nuts and chocolate sauce when you
It
work
was a
there.
warm donut as well.
Imagine if your house was attached to it. I was a little fat kid. I would have gone fucking mad down there.
Yeah, but the truth is, I had my party in the Wimpy.
That's right.
And nowadays, like parties are on a different level for kids nowadays.
Yeah, that's
I don't know
right.
if you've experienced that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Proper. My
fucking nightmare.
My sister's has had one, and she had a farm in her back garden, horses, cows. I was at the Wimpy, having a brown derby. I thought I'd made it.
Kicking the shit out of Mr. Wimpy as he comes out. I've done that one as well, with all that. But yeah, we stayed in one bedroom in the flat until they got, they grafted.
Yeah.
And so, they wanted to give us what they never had, and so they sent us to private school thinking that was a great idea.
Yeah.
And it just was not for me. And I was bullied terribly at that school.
Yeah.
I just remember leaving there thinking, actually, I'll let you into my manipulation. So I learned to manipulate quite early, and I remember they had the cane at that school, and I basically mouthed off to this teacher or to this kid, and he grasped me up to his teacher. See, all these bullies, they were grasses, right? So they grasped me up. So they suspended me, and then he took me to the headmaster's office, and he was looking at the canes. And I said, if you think you're going to cane me, I just started getting mouthy. So if you think you're going to cane me, I said, my dad is going to kick the living shit out of you, right? And I'm thinking, why are you saying all this? Your dad's going to go mad. Like, he's going to, like, my son, what are you saying? Because he said to me before, no one touches my son. Discipline, son. I will fucking discipline you, all right? I was like, okay. All right, Dad. Fucking big Turkish hands. You ever seen that film Gorillas in the Mist? That's my dad's fucking hand. The ashtray hand, that's my dad's hand. Fucking hell. So I was frightened of that. I didn't want to get my ass whooped. So I ran away from school. They put me in a hallway, and I thought, if I run away, they'll be so concerned that I've run away that the punishment will disappear.
Yeah.
This was a conscious thought, backed up with a bit of fear, right? So I did that, and the police caught me and brought me home, and my son, and all this kind of stuff, and it never materialised.
You didn't get the discipline?
Didn't get the discipline.
So it worked?
It worked.
Well, there you go.
Right? Come on, don't leave me hanging.
Come on,
it
bro.
It worked, right. So, but did it work really? It's like that learning of that, that manipulation. So, and this is the light end stuff, but I left there and I remember going to a new school and thinking I need to be a different me. And I don't think that's right for a 12, 13-year-old to be thinking that way.
Reinvented yourself.
Yeah, and I fucked it straight away, day one. I sat there in this state school, and we're doing PE. I was thinking, fucking hell, here we go. And all these rugby jocks all sitting in there like, this one guy goes, do you know Chris? And he said it in such a way that he was like going to mug him off. I went, yeah. What do you reckon? I went, yeah, mug. He went, yeah, it's one of my best mates. I was like, good.
Oh, no.
Fucked it completely. I was just like, because I'm trying to people please.
You misread the situation.
I was trying to, mug. I was like, oh, no. So they got my number. So again, I found myself with, the guy, Josh, and, who's a bit of a ladies' man, and we just hung together. And I liked quality rather than the quantity. And the problem with that is, if they didn't go to school, I found myself on my own a lot.
Yeah.
And that weren't cool, man. So then I started to hang around with a lot of the girls. I used to like talking to the girls. Girls used to like to talk to me. It was just really easy.
Yeah.
And at that point, they were kind of also a bit obsessed with my skin tone because it was different to what theirs, and it looked healthy. So I've been on holiday for a while, and they're like, "Oh, this is nice." It's like, I'm actually born this way, but sure, we'll go with that. Whatever gets you through the night. Can I have your number? Or your? Well, we didn't have a number. Can I get your email? And so I kind of entertained really and performed for them, and so I thought that was all right, and I sort of just survived that next school really. I was still really short. No one really wanted it. I didn't really get into it too much. A little bit of here and there, but nothing major. And I thought, okay. And then I remember going to college.
So you weren't boozing or anything at senior school?
No, I wasn't allowed to go out.
Right, okay.
So my mum knew exactly what I was up to, what I wanted to do, and every Friday night they'd all go out and get pissed on 2020 and Two Dogs and whatnot, hooch and all the shit, pissing off a tree, getting older girls that they wouldn't normally talk to at school.
Yeah.
Great days.
Great days.
Great days.
So, I didn't get a chance to do that particular period, but when we started to go out, when you couldn't get into zeros, you'd have to get pissed and go into Roller City.
Yeah.
That's how it was. So everyone that was in Roller City was pissed. All the ones that were rejected from getting
That's close
zero.
to here, isn't it?
That's right around the corner.
Yeah,
Is it really?
Yeah.
Mate,
You come full circle.
We don't even know about this.
With the red stairs, you used to try and act cool. There's like
That's
red
it.
stairs on one side.
That's it.
Yeah, not a Southend bod.
So
Not a
you've
Southend
got
bod.
Roller City, which is obviously a roller skating
Yeah.
place, and opposite was a nightclub.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you're getting that age, people are thinking you can get served.
What was it called?
Zero Six.
Club?
06,
Oh, brilliant.
zeros. And it was called 06 when I think my dad was going out, but it's called Zero. And so you try and up to that, lads, right? Okay, no problem. And so you'd have
Over to the roller skating rink.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Because they'll be pumping out music.
I used to
It
get
was
my
nighttime.
Halifax debit card out as ID, and he used to look at me like, it wasn't even the debit card, I think. It was like a Visa Electron, it was. And he used to look at me like,
Julio Fuentes,
off the
26.
roller city, mate.
Go and get your skates on, son.
You know what I mean? So it was like kind of them days. But so as a kid, I felt awkward. Growing up, I definitely had little man syndrome. Hated my height. Could never grow. Everyone was growing. I just stayed the same. And so I kind of developed and learned that maybe I'm not enough. And people told me that enough time, and and I believed it. And it was horrible. And so it wasn't until I found at that school they were doing auditions for like some drama youth thing, and I went because no one at school knew about it. I didn't tell anyone I could sing or I didn't say anything.
Yeah, secrets.
I was being a new me, right? And then I met my crowd, I met my people, because they had that same energy as me, and I loved performing. I really did. I loved it. And I guess it's because I could be anyone but me. Well, whatever it was, but it was just I loved it. And so they become my crowd. They were my people, but they didn't like to drink or get on it like me when I started finding it. They were quite normal with it. They were like had a healthy relationship with it.
Yep.
And so I felt more exposed, But so drink came in for about 13, 14.
Right.
And then I started puffing when I was about 16.
Yep.
Same. And then college, that was cool. And that's when I become lost in identity, as you mentioned earlier on. So one day I'd walk in with like something I'm wearing now. And then the next day I've got like baggy pants down, my arse hanging out, fucking chains on, a skateboard, twisted hair with black and white grunged up.
Yeah.
And then other times I just came in like Limp Bizkit style back in the day. And I came in looking like fucking, I don't know, like I just come out of prison, like some African-American prison. Like I was just,
just didn't know who you were.
All of that roadman
Echo
style.
Unlimited.
Well, I had Eclipse, FUBU, I had
with a
like, the
FNAF
hat,
jacket.
Yeah.
put it over my eye. Like, I was lost with glasses on as well. It doesn't work, does it? Fucking putting the hat over one eye with your glasses on, with your rolled up.
My boy sent me a photo the other day of me wearing a white Echo tracksuit with baby blue writing on it, and they was like, "What were you thinking?" I was like, "Nah, that tracksuit."
No, I used to walk around tots looking like Eminem. I had blue baggy jeans on, Dr. Martin boots, and a wife beater vest.
Yeah.
Just walking around like
That's it.
200 laps of tots, just not talking to anyone.
That's the one.
Did you blonde your hair up?
No, I had highlights though. Terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, I had highlights.
I had identity crisis, I think they called it.
Identity crisis. In fact, I wanted to be. Do you remember Dennis Rodman used to have different colour hair?
I loved the
wanted
90s
the same.
balls.
I wanted the same. Yeah. And so I bleached and toned my hair white, and I wanted cornrows, but I couldn't grow my hair. I got impatient, didn't grow my hair long. So then they just did tram lines, and then it was fucking. They burnt my head.
Right.
I left it too long, so I had this white tram lines with a burnt scalp. I come home, my dad went, "I don't have blonde son. What the fuck is this? Fucking, I can't believe it." I was like, "It's all right, Dad. Don't worry." He goes, "No, I don't. I can't look at you." And he wouldn't look. He literally wouldn't look at me. And then the problem with that is the hair started to grow back in between the tram lines, and I got white, black hair.
Yeah. Oh,
I was so lost, man. And you know, in it was very difficult. So I'd be whoever you want me to be, even to the point, right? So they used to do a lot of hip hop nights in Southend. I used to be a part of, and so again, nice big baggy blue jeans and like your Timberland boots.
Yeah.
And I love these Timberland boots so much, but they didn't have my size. So I swear to God, I'm a size 10, right? Between size 9 and 10, depending on the shoe, right? And I got these size 12s because that's all they had.
Mate,
I was like, I'm going to have
I
them.
can really relate to this.
I had to wear 3 pairs of socks.
I'm an 11. I used to wear size 12 Tims because that's all I had. Mate, like, literally, I was on this hip hop.
Like
Some geezer, I remember this northern bloke. We was in the pub and he stood on my Tim. I'm like, look, he's like, it's a fucking skateboard. Get the fucking skateboard out of the way. I was like, mate. That was one of the first days I ever smoked weed, that Timberland story.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, I've done all this same stuff.
People
Like,
used to say, what the fuck?
So I was into hip-hop, right? But my mates at school weren't.
Right.
So I had like this whole secret hip-hop operation going on, right? And I had a couple of mates that like weren't really my mates, but they was into it.
Yeah.
And I talked to them about it like in lessons and then come out on the playground. I like house music, mate. You know what I mean? But really, I didn't.
Mate,
Really, I loved hip-hop.
this is I think this is a common thing, you know.
Yeah.
And music brings us together. I mean, I'm an eclectic. Again, movie reference, Sister Act 2.
Yeah.
She said,
Of course.
I'm an eclectic. I was like, that's exactly what I am. Like,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I like all music. I
Me
like
too.
absolutely everything.
All genres. If it's a good song,
Yeah.
I like it.
You don't like music if you don't like music, right?
course.
So for me, but my tastes were dramatically different. I mean, back then it was like Mr. Vane.
Yeah, true.
You know, and you know, it was all the records and the vinyl and stuff, and then I'd have like house, and then there'd be like some commercial hip hop that would come out, and there's maybe some underground stuff I'd get. But then you might have fucking, I don't know, I was into E17. I remember that when I was a kid. I used to love E17, and some people that would come around my house from school, they judge you. I'd have, you know, the posters on the wall and the ceiling and the stars and all the fucking shit that goes in. Like,
Glow in the
did
dark
all that.
stars.
Yeah, that's it. I did all that. And then they would be going, oh, he's got E17 on his wall. I was like, oh, fucked it.
Should have took that poster down before they came
around.
round.
The house. Like, but I used to love them, dressed like them. Yeah, Steve. Dude. Like, you know, all that going on. I used to love it. So, very lost. I had no idea. College, no idea still. But did drama, did performing arts, still had no idea. Just got through it, baked, basically just smoked and drank my way through it. And then my dad fired me in the end because I used to work for my dad part-time.
Yep.
I was turning up under the influence of alcohol, looking stoned. And he was like, you have to go and see how other bosses treat you. I've been good to you, but you take the piss now. You're turning up late because I couldn't miss out. Didn't want to miss out.
Yeah.
But this is the light end stuff that we're talking about. So that's pretty much my childhood. Always felt awkward.
Yeah.
Always felt a bit funny. Got into a little bit of this, that, the other.
When did the users start picking up?
Well, I become aware that when I drank,
Yep.
the chat stopped.
Okay.
So I go to house parties. It was like, how am I going to walk? How am I going to talk? Who's going to be there? Is she going to be there? How am I going to stand? How should I move? Should I do this? Should I let them out? Should I do a constant.
Yeah, it's so like that.
Tap, 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 tap. You have a drink.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
That's exactly it for me,
It
mate.
comes back again.
It's lovely.
Pour some more on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice. Like,
Yeah.
It builds up again.
I didn't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
Who is she anyway? And it was like, let me tell you the problem with you. And I start telling her the truth. And I wondered why I never got a second date. So drinking I didn't know when to stop.
No.
So when drugs came, I felt like I could sort of handle the chat a bit more. I could
What did
regulate.
I just share in that meeting?
Yeah, exactly the same.
I was listening.
Exactly the same.
Oh, you said the same, did you?
Okay.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pills, cocaine.
Yeah.
Just finding that balance.
I mean, I wasn't really looking for the balance, but I just sort of found what worked, I guess. It wasn't a conscious decision of the balance because I didn't want to be lightly tinged. I wanted to be fucked.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But drink used to make me ill.
Yeah.
I'd be sick and puking
Same
and
as me.
the vom and the dryness. And
Exactly what I just shared.
hangover.
And you have a bit of that. And just, you can drink more, you can stay level, you won't fall over, you're not going to make an idiot out of yourself because you're focused. That's what it did for me.
Well, I didn't find coke first, so I did a little drink, and then the next thing I went straight for pills.
But I loved the pills.
Absolutely, I did. So 18, 19, hammered it, Fabric, Farringdon, Friday night, without fail, every week.
Yep.
And you just off your absolute tits, and I loved it. I did not love any of that experience, and I'm not going to say it's not about glorifying. This is about me telling my truth, because there'll be people listening who are new who'll be thinking, but I fucking love drugs. I did love drugs, and I still love drugs. They just don't love me. That's the point.
Yeah, they hate me.
You know, they fucking hate me, and actually some of them I hate. I hate a lot of them. What it made me become.
Yeah.
But the experience when it was good wasn't a problem. I never had a bad experience, but the vanity and the ego stopped me taking pills. I saw a picture of myself and I'd lost so much weight. I looked grey.
There's a reason it's called ecstasy.
Absolutely right, yeah.
It's very hard to have a bad time when you've had a good pill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you get that, it can be like that again.
Yeah. I mean,
it very rarely is.
Interesting times with that in Farringdon. In fact, because there was a bit of ag one night, and me and my mate was rushing hard, was off our fucking arse, and our T-shirts were off, or was in the nightclub, and this geezer didn't like that, and he was going, "You fucking, like, you fucking teach what you couple of fucking, you know what I mean?" And I was going, "Nah, man, no,
everything's fine, mate.
What's going on, mate? Like, you good?" Like, really didn't get it, but I remember it well, and I just thought, and then in the end,
you want coming at you.
In the end, he gave up. He just was like, "Oh, fucking whatever." And then we said to him the other day, I was like,
you, mate.
"That's mad." Like, we just literally loved him. Like, no,
loved him out of the grief.
Like, you're right. No, I'm all right, mate. Like, and it was all like that. So these were the fun times.
Yeah.
But then it changed, and then the game changed when I realised at 19, you can't leave it. You can't put it down. Like, you've always got to get off your nut. And then cocaine came, and then that changed the game, because I was trying to reach the same rush that I would get from a pill, and coke wasn't like that. And so I used to I was a fiend. I just fucking, if you left me, it's gone.
Yeah.
Fucking more. Listen, the peak of my using, I used to sniff an eighth a day, smoke an eighth a day, and I mean, that's ridiculous. The drug habit was ridiculous, and that wasn't 7 days a week. And that's why I used to think I wasn't an addict, because I didn't use the same drug every day. But there was always something every day. If I weren't sniffing, I was smoking. If I weren't smoking, I was drinking. If I weren't drinking, I was sniffing.
That's my story.
And all that kind of stuff, right? So, that's pretty much how it went for me, but it got dark. And the darkness is, I guess, where you want to go to next, is it?
Well, look, this is it, right? So you're saying about you was using and it got dark. It's like, it's easy to just sort of verbalise that decade, 15 years. About a decade.
Yeah.
You said you started drinking 13, 14, you got clean at 24. So that decade, you've just summarised it in 2 or 3 minutes. You can't even begin to fathom and comprehend the feelings that go along with that decade.
Yeah.
Right? And like you said, the darkness, the degradation, like, it is so dark and so painful and so sad. And like you was just saying, more. I used to be so charged, like, wired. And I'm like, I know I'll sort it out. Another line. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane thinking.
Yeah.
And like you was just saying about daily using, the way I used, I'll buy an eighth. It would last me 2 days. I'll pick up on the second day. So it was like half an eighth, a tenth, whatever you want to call it, every day. And it was none of that binge party using out enjoying myself. And I've shared this before. It was every 20 minutes I would have a bump. And then I would have another bump. And another bump. And then I'll get 2, I'll be like, fuck, got to have a joint.
Yeah.
Got to have a joint.
Yeah. Oh.
And then I'll get in and I'll be like, and I'm like, I've got to have a Valium.
Oh.
I was just playing this alchemy with substances and my life. And it was so painful.
And exhausting, isn't it?
Exhausted. That's the word. Exhausted.
Living a double life.
You mentioned about your recovery. It's been hard. I think your recovery is a walk in the park compared to daily using. It was so hard.
Daily using, the hustle.
Yeah.
But we're intelligent. We're resourceful people. You put an addict in the middle of a field with no money, we'll fucking find it.
I'll find something.
I'll not get it on tick.
Yeah, I'll find something. Yeah, I'll get something to buy.
Yeah, absolutely right. So if we can use that, turn it on its head. Steve used to say it in the meetings. He used to say to me, well, not to me, but to people, and he was, I think about, I can't do his voice. I've tried to do his accent before. Am I reaching my fullest potential? That's what he used to say. And I'd be like, what? The fucking keys us onto something here. Am I reaching my fullest potential? I thought, no, I ain't. No. And there's more work to be done. And I was like, right, okay. So, double life, the using, and then the darkness.
Yeah.
And then the darkness part of it was not knowing what's reality and what isn't.
Yeah.
You know, convinced someone was going to stab me at this party that we was at. And to this day, I still don't even know if that was true or not true. The fear was in. It was proper. And I was hanging around next to my mate. I was like, he's going to go off. And my mate was going, what are you going on about?
Yeah.
He was like, it is. He was like, it isn't. It was not while I'm here. It ain't going off. I was like, that's why I'm standing next to you. And he was like, look, I don't think it's going to go off, you know. And I put myself into some serious, dangerous situations on occasions in places I shouldn't have been. And I shiver when I think about it. But because all that mattered was the finding and getting and using, and the overriding obsessive thought to change the way that you feel. So, the unacceptable became acceptable. I remember being in a party once and the police broke in, or they said, "Oh, the police are here! The police are here!" And then someone said, "The police have broken in," and I'm in the loft. Right? I've left the nightclub. I was working in the nightclub industry. So I'm the only fucker in a whistle, like an idiot, all suited and booted up because I'm in the nightclub in the fucking loft with my gear like a little creature,
loft gremlin,
And I swear to God, with the fear like, in the loft, and this fucking loft door opens, and I was like, "It's the fucking coppers." And I've chucked my gear, and as I swear to God, as I've chucked it, I've lunged for it at the same time.
Caught it.
And as I've caught it, I've landed on the floor, and the door opens, and they go, "It's all right, they've gone." I was like,
was it the vets?
It wasn't. It was. They come to the front door to say, "Can we keep it down?" They never actually came into the building, right? So I'm lying there,
sheer
and
panic.
that frightened me. So I thought that could have been them.
Yeah.
And there's me with like, I fucking hate forget, like you're an idiot. And I was like, okay. So I thought, well, I'd never do that again. Did it loads of times. Never buy on the street. Did it loads of times. Yeah. So I started to, the unacceptable becomes acceptable.
Yeah.
And then
habitual line stepper.
Right. Yeah. Don't bring it into the parents' house. Bring it into the parents' house.
Yeah. Once my kids are born, I won't use anymore.
Right. Yeah. And all this doing the deal, slowly gone until one of the last, I can't remember the timeline because I've done a lot of drugs and it's been a lot of time, but I swear to God, this is one of the darkest moments of my life. I didn't want to live anymore. I wanted out. And I used to walk home regularly. Because my parents weren't like normal parents. They'd go to bed like fucking 8 o'clock at night or something. They'd be up.
Oh, really?
So I'd get there and go, oh, no, I can't go in there because I look fat. So I'd have to...
That's exactly what I used to do.
Horrible, man.
I'd be in the van at the end of the road
yeah.
checking if the living room light's gone off.
I've done it for years. It's horrible, isn't it?
That's why I was always late for work.
Always late. It's horrible.
It's their fault. They didn't go to bed early.
Yeah, it's your fault, Mum and Dad, for not going to bed. Like, fuck you for having a life. Do you know what I mean? Jesus. So there I am like, oh, God, because they were the parents who want to talk.
Yeah. Oh, no.
I used to like somebody, like the people, parents are going, all right, Dave, all right, Dad.
My mum used to look at me and go, you all right?
Yeah, that's the one.
And I'd be like, oh, she knows.
She knows. Yeah, I'm all right. And you get sort of like,
I'm just tired.
So just had a lovely evening. We had that lobster and we did loads of things. And then you just think, what's it? Shh, quiet, get upstairs. Your eyes are really red. Oh, yeah, they was having a bonfire in the garden and sort of smokes in my eyes.
July.
Just all the shit. Exactly right.
They should call you bluff, like, let me smell you. Yeah. You ain't been anywhere near a bonfire.
Exactly. But I would, in the end, I'd go, I'm really tired. And go, okay.
Not well.
So I that one as well. So I would basically come in really, really late. And this one particular day, I'm now using on my own. I'm sniffing on my own in my bedroom. And the fear, I've heard stories. I had a mate in NA who shared that he called the police. He was so paranoid. He called the police and said the other police are in his garden trying to break in. And he was sitting the police actually came round and he was sitting in his pants on the roof smoking crack. And I was just like, I don't even want to get that bad.
On the police and no one was there.
No one was there.
Oh my God.
And then they actually came and found him on the roof like, come on, let's get you down and get the blanket.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'll never be that bad. And now it's that bad. I'm on my own. They can all hear me sniffing. The neighbour can hear me sniffing.
Oh my God.
My parents are awake. They're not awake, and just ringing in my ears, and the fear is like, they're coming. They're coming.
Yeah.
Get out. And I got out, and it was like 3, maybe 2:30 in the morning, something like that. I was told. And I was walking out, and a mate of mine was doing some late night shopping when Asda started open 24 hours, and he never drives around that late night. It was pure luck. It was more than that, really. It was something else. And he just pulled up and went, and I remember it. He opened the door and went, get in the car. I spoke to him about it before many times, and he said what actually happened is he pulled up, looked at me, and said, "If you look like you killed someone. And I went, I haven't killed someone. I don't remember this. And I said, but they're after me. They're going to kill me. They're after me. He went, who's after you? And he said, that's what I kept saying. He said, you look so white and pale and frightened. And I just got you in the car. And he took me back to the safe house. It was my mate's mum's house. She never judged us. She knew what we were up to, but she never judged us. She recently died, God bless her. Miss P, shout out to Miss P. And it was always a safe place. And she let me, I don't remember it, but I woke up with the sun shining on the sofa, coming to, thinking, boiling.
Sticking to the
Fucking
sofa.
horrible, right? Coming into the kitchen and she's like, cup of tea? I was like, yes, please. She went, kettle over there. I was like, right. Bring me back to her. That was her. That was Miss P.
Yeah.
Making a tea. And she goes, what's this? That's piss. I'm right, fine. You know, and it was like business as usual. And I just remember, like, I just felt like such a loser. I thought that you have no concept of reality, where you're at, and you're still doing it. Now I learnt about, the reason why I said it was one of the darkest of my life is because now I become aware that I'm using against my will.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. I always had a choice.
Big
Surely.
moment.
I always had a choice. I knew. I choose to call it on. I choose. Now I've got no choice. I need to use to stay awake, use to go to sleep, use to go to work,
Game
use to
changer,
not go to work. Right. Fear, all of it. Consuming fear. That darkness, and this is the insanity of an addict, is that darkness continued. So you think that would be the regular
Knowledge
person
of how that's nothing.
would say, well, that's enough of that. I think I'm going to stop doing that.
Yeah.
That's a silly thing. You know, me, I'm like,
Go harder.
right, and just and humiliating myself and you know, calling on with mates that are selling because they're mates and then knocking them and then like it was just stupid and I didn't want to live and I'd talk to the sky and say, aliens, if you're there, mate, come and get me. I want out. I'm ready for the out. I was too terrified to take my life, but I had plans, but I didn't go through with those plans. And that's when my parents, they went to Families Anonymous.
Okay.
And I ticked the box and they answered all the questions and my dad wanted to kill me. My mum said, if you do that, you'll lose him and you'll never see him again and he'll be in a crack house before you know it.
Yeah.
Because is that what you want? So they gave me a mini intervention in the kitchen and I just cried. I was frustrated. I was kicking and screaming and we broke down as a family and
Powerful.
it was powerful. And I was, do you know what? I was relieved. I thought, thank fuck, I ain't got to live this double life anymore. I ain't got to lie anymore.
Yeah.
I'm done.
It's that admission that that relief is.
That relief.
I've had that. It's I say to you all the time, if my family, I had to lose my wife and kids to come into recovery.
Right.
They're back in my life now, which is
Amazing.
amazing, and I'm blessed. But I truly believe that if my family, what I'm trying to say is, I'm blessed to have had that rock bottom. I had that moment where she said, "No, fuck off, get out of the house." If my parents had done an intervention for me a week before, I don't know if I'd be sitting here today because I needed that. I needed that moment of, what do you mean you're not letting me back in? What do you mean I can't see the kids for 3 months? Do you know what I mean? I needed that for me to.
You need the boundary.
I needed that.
Yeah.
That shock to fucking say, right, okay, enough's enough.
You needed pulling out your ass.
Yeah.
I needed pulling out my ass because I couldn't do it. And I take my hat off to anybody that goes, fucking hell, this is mad. I need to go to NA. And they do it.
Yeah.
That weren't my vibe.
No.
That weren't on my mind.
Well, Nick done it for me.
Right.
I was seeing Nick professionally.
Right.
And he just told me what I already knew. You know what I mean? But in a way that I needed to hear it at that time.
Right.
And he was like, I don't want to take your money off you, mate. I'll see you in a meeting. You know where the fucking solution is. And I was like, oh, yeah, I do know where the solution is. I've been to the meetings before. And that was the start of my journey this time.
Yeah, that's good.
So for you, that, like you said, mini intervention in the kitchen, powerful, broke down as a family.
Yeah.
Was that it?
No, it wasn't it, sadly. No, it wasn't it. But they arranged for me to go and speak to someone who was in recovery, and he ended up being my first sponsor, Oliver. And he'd done everything I'd done and some. You know, he did it with money, more money than I had, and still, you know, I won't share his stuff, but I think he was making so much money in the city, and he said that he ended up in the same suit, chiving fruit machines, smoking crack in Clacton, and thought, this ain't right.
Yeah, what happened?
Going back to work on a Monday, everyone was like talking about going to Port Banús, and he was in this multi-purpose suit with holes in his shoes. And I was like, I had holes in my shoes. I thought, wow, I did that. It was all about the suits, working in the nightclub industry then, and it was just crazy. And I identify with him a lot, and he took me to my first meeting with Big Nick, and I swear to God, this is my head. Come to this meeting. And I thought, okay. I'm in the car. I said, I know what their plans are. Their plans is they want to have sex with me. This is what it is.
Is that what you truly thought?
Yeah, honestly. I was like, yeah, okay. So he's a big fella. Right, I'm going to have to gouge his eye out. I'm going to have to bite his neck. Oh, actually bite his neck properly. I was proper planning and plotting. I wasn't frightened. I was just like, okay, this is where it's at. You fucking ill. You are filth. Right. Okay. Got to the meeting. Came into the meeting, Monday night NA meeting. Sat down, did the meeting. Shared at my first meeting, which most newcomers who are broken do not share at their first meeting. I was very vocal. I was that person. If I say I'm all right, you'll think, oh, he's all right. What they said to me was keep coming back. So they sussed me out straight away. Yeah. And then it went back in the car, took me home, and dropped me off.
Yeah.
And they didn't have sex with me.
No. Result.
And then I felt rejected.
I was going to say. Disappointment at all.
And I'm heterosexual. I was like, well, what the fuck is going on there? Like, that's how warped my fucking head is and was, and probably still is to this day.
Oh, that's the truth.
That's my God's honest truth. I don't share that often, but I share that because I know this is like a lot of people in recovery podcast, and I'd share this in a meeting, so it's not a problem. But that was my genuine thought. And that is so sick and so warped. I had nothing to offer anyone, be it male, female, animal. I had nothing to offer. And so that, low self-worth and self-esteem, but a big ego. Again, I learned about that. So that was
a combination.
What a combination. Shouldn't work on paper, should it? No. So I was in that place and I was resistant. And I weren't going to do it. And then I'd get that reading. Alcohol is a drug. Yeah, stick it up your ass. Alcohol is not a drug. Right? So I continued to drink. And I refused to give it up. So for 6 months I drank, and man, my drinking took off. Suddenly I could handle it in a way, which I couldn't really, but I couldn't get drunk anymore. Drunk myself sober. I'd go and black out, and alcohol become the next, big thing. I mean, look, I worked in the nightclub industry before I finished up using, and it was so ill, man. The fear. I was a promotion manager at Baker's Bar. It's not there anymore. Now I sound old. It's not there anymore. And I used
That's where I recognise you from, I think.
Probably Baker's.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Definitely,
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, I mean, it had 3 floors. It was beautiful. I loved it. But even then, I couldn't go in there. I had my ritual. I'd go, no, I can't. Fear. Inane Cafe next door. See the dealer. I'd have sweet drinks. I'd have treble, Malibu, and pineapple juice, so you wouldn't smell alcohol on me because I used to wear sweet aftershave and stuff. Sort myself out. Do it same again. Then go in. Have a triple amaretto on ice. And then open the book. That was my ritual. Like, I was fucked before we even got started. So,
a lot of sugar, man.
A lot of sugar. A lot of sugar. A lot of sugar. I had at one point it was like 15 trebles through the night.
Sweet liqueurs.
Very sweet, yeah, 100%, man. So it wasn't great, but and then I cleaned up working in the nightclub industry. It was fucking hard work, and everyone in recovery was going, "I don't think you should work in the nightclub industry."
It's probably a bad idea.
And I was just like, "Don't tell me what to do. It's a suggestive program. Don't fucking tell me what to do, mate."
Yeah, still got that ego.
I've got it on point.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm young. You're all fucking old. This is why you're all here. I'm young. I'm going to rewrite the book. And then realise I wasn't the only person that ever said that. So, I had to just keep coming back.
I'm mad to think, though, because, they knew. They can see straight through you. Newcomer bollocks. Because I get it all the time. Bollocks. I'm like, all right, mate, I'll see you in 6 months. You know what I mean? Hopefully. Hopefully.
Yeah, that's what they said, that sometimes the door doesn't swing both ways back. Yeah. And I was like, ooh. And that's what I've seen. But so I refused to give up the drink. And then I pretended I was sober. In fact, I actually went to one meeting on a Sunday in Chelmsford. I remember it well. And Bev was there and Lloyd was there. They're not around much anymore. But and we'd gone to this lovely meeting, had a beautiful meeting. And then everyone went to Cafe Uno for like lattes and, caffeine-free drinks. And I was just like, So I sat there and I went, did the order, and I went, I'll have a pint of Stella.
No, you didn't.
I did, yeah. And they went,
you did a fellowship.
And they went, you can't.
Not allowed to do that, mate.
I was like, it's an NA meeting. We're no longer in the NA meeting. We're in Cafe Uno. I'll order what the fuck I want. And they went, right. I said, I'll have a pint of Stella, please. And then Lloyd said, listen, you do what you want, but that will be really unfair for everybody else here because everyone else here was trying not to do anything. I was like, all right. I'll have a double espresso, mate. So he gave me a double espresso. I had 4 double espressos. By the time that the evening was through, I was foaming at the mouth, fucking.
Twitching.
What's next? What's next? And everyone had been chill. That's how it was. That's how I was. It was fucking hard work.
Yeah.
And I just didn't get it. And I was pretending I was sober. And then I went to pick my, from like drinking. And so I was saying I was clean. And I wasn't. And I sat in the NA meeting ready to pick up my 6-month key ring.
Yeah.
And
Still drinking.
still drinking, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just remember my ears were burning as we were going down the countdown.
Yeah.
And I thought, it said 6 months. I didn't move. I thought they all know I was going to get up and get my 6 months. So I didn't move. I was like, you're not moving. It was going 90 days. I was like, you're not moving. 60 days. I was like, And it's a white key ring. Anyone just for today. Back from relapse. Can I have to be clean for this one? Want to start again. I'd literally just got up.
Wow. Good, man.
Just walked up, picked up my white key ring.
I was so hoping you said that.
And I started again.
Yeah.
And that was the day I stopped.
Was it?
Brilliant.
That was the day I stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get emotional thinking about that
I'm
now.
so glad you said that.
That was the day. That was the day. And I thought, you fucking bastards, you fucked me up. I must have done something wrong. I must have listened. You know, I was in that chair long enough. I heard it.
Yeah.
Must have heard something. Can't tell it much.
Seeds were planted.
Seed was planted, and I knew that. But what was the overriding thought was, but you know.
Yeah.
Do something legit first time in your life, for fuck's sake. And that was the very start of my recovery. And I haven't looked back. I've had my moments where I wanted to be normal like everyone else, but do you know what I mean? What am I going to do on a date? What do I do? Sit there in my feelings? I really like you. I'm feeling some feelings. Shall we have another cup of tea? That's what I thought it was going to become. I was so like the other way.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, that's not how it works. I was like, what do you
it's
mean?
really not. But you think it's going to be.
Yeah,
That's some of the stuff I've learned. Like I said at the start of the episode, that's some of the stuff I've learned over the last 2 years.
Right.
Look, like going to weddings, and I've been to multiple stag do's now, and I had a party last weekend. I'm the one on the dance floor at 1 a.m. dancing. Like you got to learn how you can, and after a while it becomes normal. That's your new normal.
We are louder and more engaged and vibrant than people getting on it will ever be.
Yeah.
And we wake up early in the morning the next day.
We get to enjoy the best bits.
Exactly.
But I couldn't do those bits for a long time.
Yeah.
I needed to accept self,
Yeah.
understand self,
Yeah.
recognize triggers.
Of course, look, I'm not recommending this in your first 6 months to a year.
No, but people were doing that.
A&E.
But people were doing that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it. I felt triggered. It just fucked me up. I couldn't do it.
No, I wouldn't recommend it. I'll tell my sponsees, I'm like, if you absolutely have to, but have an exit strategy.
Yeah,
Have someone who's going to be there to see you through it and hold your hand through it.
that's right. Always set yourself a time to leave.
That's exactly what I did.
Have a way out.
First 2 years, I used to go, still see my mates, and then I'd always go about 9 o'clock, even if it was too early. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't even kicking off the night. I'd always go home. Yeah. And then that's just slowly, I've just become, my suit of armour's got thicker and thicker and thicker, and I'm comfortable. I'm done.
Yeah. I had a rule, wedding, meal, leave.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Because I had 2 or 3 weddings. And then, like, now I'm at the point, 3.5 years clean. I was in Ibiza last weekend for a wedding.
Amazing.
There's a fucking party going on all around me for 4 days.
Yeah.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was in the gym at 7 in the morning. Everyone's hanging out of their ass at midday.
Yeah, of course.
And I've been up, working on my tan. That's why you thought I was a bit Turk or whatever when we sat down. You know what I mean?
I don't know. That's a politically correct.
The olive skin.
But obviously, that's your white privilege coming out. That's fine. Bit Turk, are you? I think it's Turkish or Cypriot. Just want to
Mediterranean.
no, just own it. Cypriot or Turkish.
Okay, Cypriot or Turkish, yeah. Sorry. I'm still learning, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to teach you.
Still
You're not having it.
They just edit that out of my other podcast. They're so woke.
Tell me some of the things, and the listeners, some of the things you did, not when you first came in, but some in the first 3 years of coming into recovery, like the service, like getting your sponsor, that sort of stuff.
You don't want to talk solution, do you?
Yes, please, mate. That'd be great.
Hell.
Sorry, I've got to get it back on track.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I wasn't going to do any of that. I did all that. They are suggested guidelines as well for a reason.
Yeah.
And I should tell you about those reasons. The tea, let me tell you about my tea commitment. Every cup was perfectly aligned and angled. And if you dare fucking come into that kitchen and touch that cup. All right. There was that. I have to engage with you. Hello, what do you want? Do you want sugar? Oh, like, oh, I've got to talk to people. Like, and then I loved it. Hi, new, are you new? Tea, John? Want tea?
I loved it.
I loved it.
How much did I love it?
So good.
I loved it.
Hated it, but loved it in the end.
That's the magic. That's where the magic is.
Yeah, but then the ego wanted secretary straight away. I was like, that's the one. I'm aiming for the top seat. You get me? Like, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm at.
Max was secretary when I had the tea commitment at Basildon. I loved it. I had the finest Italian roast. I remember what everyone had. I'm like, tea, 2 sugars, coffee, black.
But it's important for the newcomer, all that stuff. We shared about it before. It's so fundamental. Like someone coming for their second meeting and you remembering their name and what they want. It's like...
It's amazing.
Yeah, that is... I know it's something small, but it's just so invaluable that.
Because most of us had experienced, he's not coming, is he? Or don't let him come.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then all of a sudden
weren't on the list anymore.
Back. Right. Yeah. And then now it's like, welcome back, or good to see you again. How are you? What do you mean, how am I? What, you're ready to listen to the answer? Yeah. Oh, right, okay. So it was really amazing experience. And then I wanted to go straight in for the secretary. And I wasn't ready for that. So I managed to skip it and go straight in for Treasury. I don't know how I did that. Went into Treasury. That was horrendous. I must have been about 6 months clean doing Treasury. Yeah. I wasn't taking the money.
Yeah.
But I wasn't stealing the money. What I was doing is I know, I've got it here. And I'll put it back, right?
Yeah.
But then I was so unmanageable that I've forgotten...
Yeah. How much was there?
How much did I take?
Yeah.
Did I write it down? And so then I started to overput wages in. I'm thinking, no, fucking hell, I need to put overput because it looks like I'm nicking money. So I have no idea how that worked out. And I don't think I ever shared that with anyone. In fact, I think that's the first time I've ever shared that. But
again, another lesson there.
It was a lesson that is a guideline.
Yeah. Maybe you get a bit more manageable around that sort of stuff and start taking it a bit more seriously.
Yeah.
I've had that same experience with that.
Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah. When you don't know how much is in there and you nick £2 to pay for your kids, whatever it is. And I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
I've only recently taken on Treasury. I'm doing it in a minute. It's literally, I wasn't ready for it.
Right.
Until, and it was like, we need a treasurer. I'm like, you know what? I'm over 3 years clean now. NA services taught me everything else. How about I learn a little bit of financial responsibility?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm doing it now, and I'm on the ball with it. Funny enough, you just reminded me I need to pay the rent for my Tuesday night.
That's kind of why I said it, but I don't want to.
He didn't know. He couldn't have possibly known.
I know, man. I've been around, I know. Shit. So, sorry, they'll take me back soon. The service, so absolutely. So I wasn't ready, really. I didn't learn, I didn't know, but... and then I did love doing a secretary position because I felt it wasn't about ego at that point. By the time I was doing that one, it wasn't about ego at all, I promise. It was about the group. Mm-hmm. Now I'm at a place where I care about the group. Yeah. I care about who's sharing to them. Yeah. You know, I want to, because I was inspired and learnt from Mike and how he took the meeting in Grays. It was the governor. He was the governor when he took that meeting. And he didn't mean to be the governor, he just was. And it was brilliant.
It's because he cared.
Because he cared and he knew. And so I put the same thought in it. Yeah. And we had conscience. It was all healthy. It was all lovely. And we got a real full committee. And it was just absolutely brilliant. And then someone stole the money. We were very cash rich at that meeting. And they stole about 450 quid.
Right.
And... the meat would have to have folded. And I was like battling with, does it fold? No, I'm not having it. And surprisingly enough, I had a lot of compassion for the guy. He didn't mean it in that way. It wasn't as black and white as that. Mm. But we had the solution. We had people right around us, and I swear to God, we put it out. And we had we were going to have a conscience, and we opened it up to all meetings, anyone. We had loads of people. We had over... It sounds small now, but 50 people in a Southend meeting is huge.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah. And they came. And we didn't tell them how much had been nicked. And so we took the guidance on how to do it, and we passed the pot. And then we passed the pot again at the end of the night as we brought the message in and sort of said what had happened without shaming anybody. And we got... The money from that meeting was exactly the same amount that was taken.
No way.
Wicked.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I was just like, what? It was
hard to deny a higher power at that moment.
It was very bizarre. That was very bizarre. Coming to learn higher power, as you talk about, with solution and learning about higher power. I remember I didn't have a smartphone, it didn't exist then, and I needed a meeting. And I was in London 3-4 months clean, and I was raw. And I went up to a black cabbie outside Liverpool Street Station, and I said, "Oh, internet cafe, mate?" He went, "Oh, no." I was like, supposed to be a cab driver, we're supposed to fucking know everything. And he was like, "No, don't know that." He goes, "Anything else?" So I went, "NA meeting." He went, "Give me a minute." Picked up his phone, and his brother was running the NA meeting in King's Cross. I was just like, "Right, okay.
Yeah.
Can you take me?" "No, I'm on a break." I was like, "Fuck it." He was like, "You have to go to the front." I was like, "Right, okay." I had to get there, and I just got there and just cried. Been loads of moments like that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my lunacy. When I learned these powers of recovery, but also I was resentful as fuck. He talks about the sickness and the light there, that battle.
Yeah.
My wallet got nicked, and I was coming back from work one day, and they found it, and they said it's in this station. So I go to the station, and I asked my wallet. He says, no, it's closed. I was like, "Yeah, but it's in that room there." And he was like, no, it's closed now. I said, "Yeah, I hear you, but if you could just open it with the key and then just give me a wallet." And he was like, "No, I ain't doing that." I was like, right. And I saw the cameras, so my body language was very open, and I'm happy to comply, sir, and I'd like to be compliant. But what came out of my mouth was, "Look here, you fucking piece of shit. You better fucking open that door now. I want to smash your face in, you prick." And all this kind of stuff coming out. And then in the end, he called his manager. The manager came down, and I said, "I just switched." I went, "I'm terribly sorry. I think there's been a massive misunderstanding. I'm actually trying to retrieve my wallet." And I went into this whole complete ramble, and I could just see the guy looking at me like, "This
He's mad.
What is this?" And he just went, "Just give me a fucking wallet." And I opened the thing, gave him my wallet, and then I said, "I'm really, really, really sorry, mate," and put my hand out, and he just looked at me like he would have annihilated. If this wasn't in work, he would have smashed me to pieces. Yeah. And he just shook my hand reluctantly, and I came out so anxious, so unwell, so fraying at the seams. Right, I stood at the tube station, and I closed my eyes, and I thought, "I'm going to say this for any prayer until I feel comforted." And when I opened my eyes, there was nobody at the station. So I thought, I don't know how long I've been there. That's how intense I was. Didn't know. Really, it was like a pendulum constantly going. Had to learn to slow it down.
Yeah.
So service helped me do that. Meeting attendance made me do that. I had to go to more meetings. I was just going to go to 1 a week. Now I've got to go to 3 a week. Then I might have to go to 4. Fuck it now. And if you have to send me to 7. I couldn't quite do 7. 7 used to send me over the edge. I literally felt like the 7th one would undo all 6 for the week. That was just my own weird shit. Just 6
Sometimes we need a night to ourselves.
Exactly.
I did 90 and 90, then just reduced down from there, but I still do 2 a week now.
Right.
Yeah.
But at that point, I just, I just couldn't do it. And then I went on the road. I went on the road doing drug and alcohol awareness for Talk to Frank. That was an accident.
Oh, nice.
I was doing out leaflets.
2 episodes in a row, Talk to Frank's been brought up.
Has it?
Yeah.
Love Talk to Frank.
Yeah.
Love Talk to Frank.
Is it about now?
It still exists in AI and the form, because it's the government drug strategy awareness sort of program, really, and gives you information. But I was just giving out leaflets because I come out of the nightclub industry because I listen to you a lot in the meetings. I got clean and got stopped drinking in there, and now I'm like dry, and I'm just like, have a good time, everyone. And everyone was in there, and they give me money, and I'll be behind the bar and fucking gear. I was like,
get me out.
I was so intolerable.
Yeah, you should probably leave.
Yeah, I was just like, I got to go. What are you going to do now? No idea. So I was doing leaflets, and then ended up falling into Talk to Frank, and I thought they were in the meetings because the way they sat, I was like, they must be in recovery, yeah. So I've just literally shared and gone, I'm in recovery, and I sort of told them a bit of my story, and the fucking woman's crying. The other guy's looking at me like, "You disgusting."
Not everyone in there in recovery.
I realised very quickly none of them are in recovery.
Okay.
And I've melted.
But I bet they loved you.
Well, I didn't think so. I fucking melted, and I thought, shit, I've overshared. How do I lock this back up? And I was like, thanks. I was the only one in a suit as well. This was the theme of me wearing suits.
You love a suit.
I love a suit. Yeah, I love a whistle. Yeah. So in the suit, everyone's in ripped jeans and hair and flip flops, and it's cool. I'm 21 and I'll just give out leaflets. And I was in a suit. I'm giving out leaflets because I'm in recovery. I will do the best of my ability. All that kind of shit, right? Yeah. But that won it for them. They said, "We'd love a suit. It's old school. That done it for me. And we love the fact you're in recovery. We think you'd be great." None of us are in recovery. It was quite terrifying to listen to that stuff, but we're in it. We're about that. I was like, okay. I swear to God, in the end, I had the government drug and alcohol, the drug strategy for the Home Office asking me what I would suggest for the next tour. That was insane.
That's what I thought. That's what I'm saying. I bet they loved you. You understood.
That's you know, I understood the assignment. They understood the assignment. They understood. We all understood. It just worked. And I started meeting all these youth workers, but they were all one of us.
Right.
Because they had the chat. I could just tell.
Yeah.
And then when they'd go, I'd go, you on the firm? Yeah? You on the firm? And they're going, which firm are you referring to? I was like, the narcotic company. They're like, yeah, bruv. And then all of a sudden it was like the hugs and the mini meetings on the back of the bus up the stairs and like the stories. It was phenomenal. I was travelling around the whole UK for like 3 years.
How quality is that?
And I learned from them. And I said, well, how do I do that? What you're doing? And he was like, you need to volunteer. I was like, nah, that's dead, bruv. I want to like get paid and that.
Yeah, need some money.
Volunteer. And he's like, you got to earn your stripes. I was like, fucking used for years. I've earned my stripes, mate. What's going on about? So
you paid your dues.
They paid my dues, but and I wanted to make some peace. So I thought, I don't know, I'll do what I need to do. And then I interviewed at Open Road in Basildon.
Okay.
And they said to me, you've done really well, but we can't give you a job. I was like, oh, why's that? They said, because someone sort of picked you on the day. I was like, okay. And I thought, right, that's it, done. I don't know what I'm going to do. Next day they called me and said, the girl that started, she's had a panic attack from blood. Would you like to come in? I was like, yep, I'm in. I came in, and then I broke my ankle. So I'm now hobbling in with these fucking things, and I didn't drive, and you had to drive, and I managed to blag that bit. They were very patient with me, but I was there for nearly 5 years, and I learned.
Is that Vange?
I was in Vange, man.
Yeah.
We didn't have Vange then. We had the Triangle building in Basildon. We had a room that we used.
Where the court is?
Yeah, we used to use that room.
I had a fucking bad day in there, mate.
It was bad in there, yeah. But that's where we had to go.
Yeah.
And
So you're volunteering then?
no, I actually got a paid job.
Okay.
They actually paid me as a project worker. And then we got the Vange site, and the local community didn't want us there because they thought we were going to be bringing heroin addicts to the area.
Isn't it
Like,
mad the way it's...
I was like, I just want to... And I was like...
Trying to help.
Like, they're people in your area. We're not bringing people to the area. They're people in your community.
Trying to clean up your area.
Absolutely right, yeah. So it was crazy. And most of the people that used the needle exchange were steroid users.
Yeah.
And that was brilliant. All right, I'm not an addict.
Yeah.
If you'd like to come and use my needle exchange, please do follow me. Bring them in. But I'd run the project, the reception area, the drop-in centre, and I used to put all the NA paraphernalia out, nice and big. NA sign everywhere big, and all other fellowships slightly smaller. And I was told I couldn't do that.
Slightly biased.
I was told don't do that. I was like, right, okay, yeah. And then I was like, I need to get some cards. And when I get cards, I'm going to put the NA symbol on the cards, and I'm going to, I'm going to be like a specialist. And people were like, no, you can't do that.
Like a missionary.
And they were like, no, you can't do that. I was like, right. So I did talks in schools, and I did a bit of that for a bit. I did that for nothing really, and a couple £100 I think at one point. And that was the start, and I learned a lot, and it was incredible because now I started to see more than just in meetings. I was understanding a life I didn't lead.
Yeah.
Because I was still lived at my parents' house.
Right.
I didn't have to commit an actual crime to fund my habit. I still was employable and still had money, even though I was in debt and owed people money. I still didn't, do a lot of things that I was working with people, and it helped educate me and learn me. And I used to self-disclose all the time. I used to say to the guys, but I'm clean. I'm clean.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, that's amazing. Like, that's amazing. Wow, that's amazing. And then this one client went, yeah, good for fucking you. And looked at me like he wanted to punch me in the face. And I was like, that's went different in my head. Okay, this is where you don't get it. You can't, I'm making it about, and I was told, you're making it about you still. I was like, right, it's not about. So I had to learn. Yeah. And I was just like this young pup who didn't really understand. And I was always being hauled in the office, like, we're here again. So
you shouldn't have said that.
John
really.
said that you said, right. And I was like, did I? He was like, yeah. And
it's coming from a good place.
I was like, right, but she has got nice looking hair. Yeah, no, don't comment on her nice white. Okay, yeah, fine. And all this kind of stuff. So I was very rough. And they used to say it's not a nightclub. So I learned a lot. And then they moved, and I moved up the ladder. I just went criminal justice, worked in prison, worked in. Then I came back as a manager, and then I went into London, into the heart for Turning Point for homelessness and hostels. I was a youth worker there, and then I was a manager there, and then I wanted this. I trained as a counsellor. I went to night school and trained as a therapist there.
How long did that take?
That took about 4 to 5 years. Is
that where you are now? Is that what you're doing now?
I do quite a few different things, but yeah, I've been qualified for about 13 years, something like
Nice.
that. But this is all because of NA.
Yeah, of course.
So when you talked about the service, all of a sudden it's tapping me into helping others, doing other things, doing things I didn't want to do, and then showing me a bit of commitment, a bit of discipline, structure. And so now I'm going to night school. Like the last thing, I'll be fuck off. I've been working all day. I want to sit down on my ass and do nothing. Suddenly I'm like, I'm going to night school. I'm going to do this. Got a vision, and it really helped shape me because of that. So that's why I say the stamp of NA has, everything in my life has a stamp of NA on it. So then I go study, train, do all that, and then I wanted to go and work in rehab because I wanted to work in the money side. But where does people with money get you? You know, because it costs money to go into private rehab. And then I learned that it wasn't always their money. It was like, you know, sometimes their insurance or their parents or their loved ones or their families. Funding. Yeah. You know, but it was also a very different world, and I learned a lot, learned the hard way again, you know. But you know, to stand outside that rehab and be given the keys to the medication cabinet and trusted with those,
wow.
And I was sitting there, I was like, I cried, man. I was like, wow, like how far, like this is fucking mad, like
different person.
What are you doing that now? And like learning about policy and procedure. And Nick worked with me, Ian worked with me. They'll tell you they like. He used to just watch me, Nick. It was just like, how do you retain this stuff? And I was just like, I don't know, I'm in it. And my attitude was, if you wouldn't say yes to putting your own family in this rehab, we've got a lot of work to do. And that was how I did it. And in the end, they all felt safe. You know, it was there to keep us all safe. And I learned a lot. And then I moved up and went into the NHS. Been an ops director in a private rehab, but sadly closed. Got there too late, unfortunately. And
was that a lack of funds?
I think they didn't get the right team in, and CQC the regulators weren't happy with the way they'd done things, and they'd fucked it. And by the time I got there was so much missing, and it was going to take us a little while, but they weren't getting the.
From what I've heard, there used to be a lot more funding for treatment than there is now.
Well, and this was private. Yes, that's
no, but
true.
still private rehabs. But there would be NHS funding that would send people to private rehab.
Yes, that's right.
And it's really hard to get now.
Yeah, I mean, they do half alcohol detoxes in the hospital, the rest of it's at home.
Yeah.
You know, they would never have done that back in the day, but they need the bed. So, you know, things have changed, and why would they pay someone else to do it when they can just get them to do it at home? So things have changed, and I learned a lot about that. So I learned more than just about coming to meetings and being recovering. I'm not saying everyone should go and work in this field. No. It was just something I fell into.
You've seen the whole picture now.
I've seen the whole picture. I absolutely loved it. And now I work at the NHS, the operations for Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service for Essex.
Oh, nice.
Been doing that for a while in the day, and then I have my private practice, and I do other bits and pieces. So
I've just started working with some young people.
Have you?
Mentoring, yeah. A friend of mine's got a few care homes for kids.
Okay.
Basically, whenever they get found with drugs, I go and see them, sit down, have a chat, try and scare them a little bit. But you know what I mean? Just tell them, look, this is where it starts. This is where I ended up. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. You know what I mean? And look, I'm not necessarily qualified, but I feel like I'm qualified. You know what I mean? My experience, I can sit down and talk to these kids. So it's like unofficial. You know what I mean? I'll just show up, not get paid for it. I'll just turn up, little spiel, and I'm getting loads out of it. It's like another little branch of service, right?
I really like what you're saying there, because that reminds me of the Frank days.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'd have a different approach now, because I've experienced that, and I know I'd have a different. I think we just because we grow, become open, and I've learned other stuff. And
I'd love to pick your brains about a good way to approach it.
It's at any time, and it's you know, it's been a real journey really, and during that process, and because of service, and because of structure, and because of discipline that it's taught me and maintained that, I've been able to become a productive member of society and actually follow through with things. And you know, I get ideas and they might not work, but I have a go. My mantra is have a fucking go.
Yep.
And that's what I do. And I started to perform again. I never did that. I started to do that again. And I wrote an album in recovery, and I performed it, and it was reviewed, and then I'd written for other people.
Send me the link. Send me the link.
I'll give you an album. You can have an album. And then, you know, I've done so many other things, and things have come my way, and because I've worked in this a long time, and fortunately I work with quite a few people in the public eye, you know, and you make good connections afterwards. You know, it's not about that, but once they leave, and they get to know you, and by the way, John's doing it. Would you like to? Oh, why not? So I ended up doing a movie.
Yeah.
It came out. It was called Bermondsey Tales.
Right.
It was a gangster movie, and that came off the back of meeting Dapper Last and doing his podcast, and then his friend, and that one was a director, and we all got chatting, and all of a sudden I'm in this movie. I had 4 lines, and
but that was fun, wasn't it?
it was hilarious. All the South Londoners down there, like, I've been fucking Derby.
Which playing our case?
I was kissing some ass at a funeral,
okay.
and I.
What was your lines?
My lines were. I forgot what my fucking line.
Line. I was going to say.
Line. What the fuck was my lines? I remember my mate's lines before mine.
Yeah,
like,
the cue.
Sorry about your loss. You know, I know today's not a day, but I've got a bit of business I want to throw you away. He says that, and I go, 1 in a million it was. Yeah, I say it was 1 in a million. Yeah, it was gutted when I found out. Yeah, real shame. And the scene, it's funny. There's a couple of lines, and it's only a very, very, very small part, but it was fun to do. And they want me to do a couple of other bits and pieces that's come up, and actually audition for some other bits, which I didn't think I was going to do.
Yeah.
And I've been writing, I've been doing some other things. Man. Yeah, man, it's fun. I'm not pursuing that as this is my focus, but and I've got an idea for a couple of podcasts that I'm going to do, and I'm going to do those. And I just want to try and take what I do in the therapy world, because what I notice a lot of therapists, they don't talk about, they just stick behind the skill set and the professionalism. And I think that's really hard to reach some people who are feeling less than.
Yep.
I really feel that the way I feel I do it is I let you see the person.
Yeah.
I don't make it about me, but you see the person. You don't just see a therapist.
Yeah, make it personal.
You make it personal. And so you build that therapeutic relationship, because what I learned in NA is the therapeutic value of one helping another, right?
Yep.
The therapeutic value of one helping another.
Because a lot of therapists keep themselves very close.
Right.
Yeah, they don't show their true self to them.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Sit far away.
It's more, they don't say, oh, my experience on that was. They never do that. It's
or
more,
that's totally relatable. Or just, but, when I trained, it was like, very much I'm sensing it's very difficult for you.
Yeah.
Tell me about your childhood. And that's fine, but that's not who I really am. So, how I speak now is how I am, and how I act with them is authentic. And
a lot more direct.
Absolutely right. And for me that works. And so I had this notion that, I appreciate I'm not an introverted character. I'm an extroverted character.
Yeah.
I found my voice. I found my energy back, and bang, here I am. I'm here. Like, what's up? So, this is where it's at. So I want to try and...
You could do a podcast just with the noises, man.
I'm just thinking...
Do one by yourself.
Just like bubbly characters.
Undiagnosed person.
Like Eddie Murphy in
From mic to mic.
The Nutty Professor.
Just watch me unfold before your very eyes. This is what a sick man looks like. But no, I still feel that someone with my personality maybe and my skill set, there's a space in the industry. So, of course, I want to try and take that to I
think that's a great concept, having a counsellor. If I could go to a counsellor and he could actually talk back to me about his experiences, and that's the...
If it's appropriate.
Yeah, if it's appropriate.
Of course, you read the room.
Yeah.
And it's mad the directions that this stuff takes us down.
It is mad, and I do think a lot. I reflect a lot, because it's like going in this hot air balloon. You're going higher and higher. It's all new territory. You go, fucking a bit high up here now.
Yeah, it's getting a bit scary.
I feel like a real adult. It's very hard concept when I think about it. I think how time has gone, and some of my mates have not moved forward, and some of them just are still in the same place. But NA, the training ground of going to meetings, service, the people, watching the same people keep coming back, and watching people improve their lives, and then seeing people sadly die that don't come back or don't get it. And
that's what I was going to say, the other flip side. When you go to a meeting, you're like, where is everyone?
Right.
Everyone's new.
Yeah.
Where's all the other people?
About the politics back in the day, there wasn't enough NA meetings, so quite a lot of people went to another fellowship to help soothe and get in the local area. I definitely did that, and in fact, I'm grateful for
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
There isn't anything
I love
wrong
the
with
AA
that.
literature.
When I go to AA, I take my NA slippers off and put my AA slippers on, and vice versa. And to me, it's where I feel comfortable, and I feel comfortable in all of it. And when I was working for Frank, there was no NA meetings in some areas. So what? I'm not going to go to any meetings.
No, exactly.
And I poo-pooed that. My sponsor suggested it, and I fucking loved it. Step meetings, all sorts of stuff. So I'm open with that. I respect everyone else's views, and I respect it all, but I know what works for me, and I go where I feel comfortable, and I feel comfortable with a few fellowships. But NA was my very first meeting, so it'll always be my home. It'll always be the place that started my journey. It will always be
your people.
My people. And they're all my people, but it has a special place to my heart because it was the first place I went.
Of course.
And I'll never forget that. And I got to meet some wonderful people. Look at Mike. Mike, you're going to have on in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
After 5 years, remember I said to you, it's about having a go. And no word of a lie, New Year's was always still that dark time for me. New Year's was still a trigger, even at 4 to 5 years. Huh?
What month did you get clean?
October.
There you go.
And so...
So you're 60 days when New Year's rolls around.
Right. So early days. But even after the years, 4 years, still like, it's got this hold on me. And when you say it's just another day, I was like, fuck off, it's real.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not another day. It's where I think everyone's having a great time. And
it comes from that party scene that you was involved in as well.
All of it. Yeah. And so someone said, well, look, you're working. You're saving some money. Fucking stop pissing and moaning. Go away. Go on holiday. And I was like, I didn't think about that. So I was going to Thailand. And I was going with another one of us who was completely unmanageable, who was getting engaged to some Thai woman in Thailand. And then he rang me up like literally 5 days before we were about to leave and said, oh, I'm getting married. I said, yeah, I know, you're engaged. He said, no, I'm getting married to an English woman. I said, what do you mean? I said, but we've got our flights, we're going to Thailand. No, I ain't doing that now. I said, what do you mean? I paid for my flight. Like, what are you going on about?
So what about this poor Thai woman that thinks she's getting married?
So he's left her, and now he's like, it was all over the gaff. And Mike rang me up. He'd just been in an ambulance. He'd just been really ill and carted off and all dramatic. And he rang me, and he was like, I told him what was going on. Anyway, he rang me up and went, I thought about your problem, and I could see Mike on the plane. I was like, I like it.
Back in the day where you could change the name on a flight for about 20 quid.
Well, he booked a whole new
He just
flight.
backed it, yeah.
And he was just like, so I had like 3 days to try and find hotels. I was like, love that.
What island?
We went to Phuket. So we went to Bangkok 4 days, Phuket, and then back to Bangkok for a couple of nights, and then flew back.
Yeah, nice way of doing it.
And it was the best 10 days we had together.
Whereabouts in Phuket?
We went to... where did we go? We went to...
Don't ask me.
Down to Bangla.
Where?
Bangla Road.
That was in Bangkok, isn't it? Bangla
No,
Road?
Bangla Road is in Phuket.
Then that's where we were. Is it Patong Beach?
Patong.
And then Qatar, Karon, and all around there, all on that coast
so Patong is where the Bangla is, and then the next one along is Korong, a little bit quieter.
Yeah, we was
I had such a good time.
We was in the middle, and
Okay.
it was absolutely beautiful, and he made us go to meetings. Bearing in mind, I'm like 4 years.
A lot of treatment centres in Thailand.
4 to 5. There is a lot of treatment centres, even more so now. But I was 4 to 5 years, so I was kind of up for playing a little bit, bruv.
Yeah.
But Mike was not up for any of that.
How clean was he?
Well, he's about 30 odd years now.
Yeah, he's deep.
He was like, no, we're going to a meeting. I was like, what? He was like, Tam, we're going to a meeting. I was like, right, okay, we're going to a meeting. So we went to meetings, and we met loads of people. We had meetings on the beach, and it was really, really great. And this one particular day, we was on the beach, and there was this woman there. She was looking fine, and he got bitten by a sea urchin. Right? Big old Mike gets bitten by a sea urchin, screaming, right? And then this Thai lady's like whacking his foot with this glass bottle and rubbing aloe vera.
trying to knock him out.
And he's going, why is he smashing my foot? And I said, I don't know, but like keep it down. And that.
He's a big bloke. You never met him, have you?
You wait till you see him.
Close
right?
protection, like bodyguard.
Marvin Gaye was his first gig.
Wow.
Michael Jackson, Dangerous. I was at that concert at 12 years old, and he was his security at that time. That's just crazy when I think about it. But he's there screaming. Then this woman just like looks over with her glasses like that. And I was like, all right, actually, keep screaming, mate. This is all good. So I'll go over there trying to flirt with my friend, got bitten by a sea urchin. And she couldn't speak any English. She was Russian. And I found that quite exciting for some reason. And, it just started from there, really. And I said, we just sort of tried to... Speaking the language is a tiny percent. It's like 5%. So we bonded. And again, it was Mike. I was crying to Mike that night before I met her, saying, here it is, Mike. It's now New Year's, and I still feel that loneliness. He said, what is it? I said, I've stayed out of relationship for 2 years. I've had no sex for 1 year. I'm like, and now we're here in Thailand, and it's very hard. And
they're everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere. and you're making me go to meetings and be well. And I just want to be sick. And he's like, no, be well. And then he just said, look, it will come when you're ready. It will come. I swear to God, that's the next day I met her.
Wow.
Guess what? She's my wife today.
She's your wife.
No way.
We've been married 12 years.
For real?
For real.
Fucking hell, shout out that sea urchin.
Sweet shout out that sea urchin.
Yeah. Tell me that's not a God moment.
I swear to God.
No, that's a
that
lovely
lady
story,
is my wife.
Yeah.
We have a 9-year-old daughter.
Oh, wow.
The relationship wasn't based around sex, so it became healthy.
Yeah.
Because she lived in another country and we had to Skype each other and build a
Yeah.
respect for each other.
Conversation.
Yeah.
6 months later, I go out to Russia.
You speak Russian?
Yeah, a little bit. And then 6 months later, she came here. And then 6 months later, I went and got married in Russia. 6 months later, she got her visa and came here. She's now a British citizen. It's taken us 12 years. And, we're building. And she is trained to be a therapist, actually. She works with children with autism on a one-to-one.
Brilliant.
I'll show you my family after. That is what recovery has given me, the ability to be love, to show love, to understand love, the difference between love and lust, to trust my thinking sometimes, to trust my heart, lots of different things, and that the energy you put out, and we found each other at the right time, and that is the beauty of having a go, of I wasn't going to go and I went, and what happens, the sliding doors moment. That's all recovery based. It's not me based, it's recovery based. It gave me the courage to go and do these things, and with Mike giving me that guidance, and I sat there, and he often says it, he says, "You've got that energy, man." He goes, "Fucking, you're a little shit." Because you little shit. Look at you fucking done it, son. You go there, you get some fucking wine. You fucking literally wait till you meet him and he tells you the story.
Right, it's a good impression.
And it's just like, it's amazing. And so we talk about that a lot, me and him, and that's all because of NA. And the solution keeps going, mate. I reflect, I go meetings, I'm still very much involved. But I'm also aware I've been pissing on for ages.
No, you're good.
Look, I think that's a great way to end.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Great insights. What a brilliant story.
Really appreciate it.
just capped off that one with your missus meeting her on the beach in Thailand. It's just incredible. So look, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Really
Appreciate you.
lovely.
mate.
You take care,
Love
mate.
it.
Take care. Thanks
Cheers,
again, Max.
Chrissy.
See you soon.